numbers, the first thing you have to do, if I ask you to add 235.6 and I want you to add 14.259, the first thing you have to do in order to do that adding is line up the decimal points. And then you can do that addition. You got to line up the decimal points. Now, this causes a problem because if I wrote these numbers in scientific notation, 2.356, because I had to move the decimal point over twice, times 10 to the second, and 1.4259, and I only moved the decimal point over once, so it's times 10 to the first. See how that changes the lining up? Okay. That they don't line up if they've got different powers of 10. So if they have different powers of 10, they don't line up. Now, if I wrote this as 10 to the second, I made the exponent bigger, so I need to make the number smaller, then I get 0.14259. And then they add up just like they did before. 235.6, 14.259. You'll see the 1, the 3 line up, the 5 and the 4 line up. I'd get the same numbers when I add these. So they have to be at the same exponent before you can add. Luckily for you, your calculator does it automatically. So if I ask you to add those numbers, your calculator will take care of it for you. And, oops, can't put it over the numbers, or we won't be able to see what we're doing. So you got to enter in your calculator, type the 4.8, then hit the special button on your calculator. Mine says EXP. Yours may say EE or 10 to the X. See, I wrote 4.8 and it wrote an E. My calculator writes an E instead of times 10 to the. The EXP stands for times 10 to the. And then I just need to enter the exponent 5. And to that I want to add 6.7 EXP 6 equals. Now that is 7180000. So that I got to move the decimal point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times to get to 7.18. Okay. And I moved it 6 times. I made the number smaller, so I need to make the exponent larger. So the calculator gives the answer 7.18 times 10 to the 6th. Now that looks kind of strange because 4.8 plus 6.7 doesn't add up to 7.18. But what does add up is 6.7 and 0.48. And everything dies on me. And 0.48. That adds up to the 7.18 that goes in front. Sorry, my pen died. I'm having lovely difficulties today. Okay. So, can I get you to push the buttons on your calculator, whatever calculator you want to use, and see what you get for that answer? And a lot of you have your cameras turned off. If you turn them on, please, I'd appreciate it so I can see you working, so I can see the questions in your head. Hello? You see some faces. Come on, folks. Need to see some faces. Not still pictures. It's a lovely picture, but I can't see the questions in your eyes if I can't see your eyes. Oops. What happened here? Question. Oops. Let's get that question back up. I don't know where it went to. All right. Let's see if we agree on what this answer is. So, oops, I didn't want it to go maximum. There we go. I just want it to go here so we can see the question and the calculator. Don't maximize. Okay. Can't see it. If it's right in the middle, so I can't do it all. Okay, so let's clear everything. 6.8 EXP. My calculator, I got to push the 6 first and then change the sign. And to that, I want to subtract 3.2, and that was to what power? The negative fifth? EXP 5, change the sign, equals, okay, I got a negative number, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times over. So it's got to be 2.52, and it's going to be negative 2.52 times 10 to the negative fifth. Why is this negative fifth? This is negative fifth because that's negative fifth. Why is this negative? Well, when I do this, I'm going to change negative 6 to negative 5. Negative 5 is bigger than negative 6. So I have to change that to 0.68 times 10 to the minus 6th. Minus 3 point, minus 5th. Minus 3.2 times 10 to the minus 5th. So now I got the same exponent. I just subtract that. Well, 0.6 minus 3.2 is going to be a negative number. I'm subtracting a bigger number from a smaller number. I'm going to get an answer less than 0. Okay? So it makes sense that it's negative. So everybody comfortable pushing buttons on your calculator to get those answers? And comfortable with why the answers come out bizarre sometimes? Because when you see 6.8 minus 3.2 and get a negative number, you might be surprised. I don't want you to be surprised by it. And I don't want you to think your calculator is doing magic. Okay, I think you've got a Casio, right? Yeah. Okay, so there's a button that says S/D right above the 9. Okay. Push that. Okay, can you show me your calculator? Put up your camera and talk so I can see. I'm missing it. I can't see it. I didn't see it. Just say something again. Can you see it? It's not working for me. It's not highlighting you, so I can't find you. So where is it at? So hold up the calculator again. I got everybody's picture now. So calculator on the screen. Can't see it. Okay, so this is AC. Yeah, it is. It's right above the the SEL button, Mark. So you see that AC button, right? Where you turn AC. See that S or D? Push that, it'll turn it into a decimal. Doesn't it? Okay. All right. So, hey, it's Calculator 101. I have to know how to run everybody's calculator. Anybody else having trouble with their calculator? I know how to run them. I've owned just about all of them. Any questions? Or your calculator's not working? Because if your calculator doesn't work, heck, if you're using the Windows calculator, Windows has a scientific calculator. You can use that one. It's got the EXP button too. You may have to change it to scientific instead of standard form. Okay, so that's addition. Any questions with calculators on that? We'll practice some more with your calculator because I want you to get good with your calculator because it's your friend. Okay, one thing to remember. When you do this, you might get an answer where the answer isn't in standard form. And you have to change it to standard forms. For example, if you add two numbers and they add up bigger than 10, you're going to get an answer bigger than 10 times 10 to some power. Well, we don't want that, so we're going to have to change our answer to standard form when we're done. Finally, it has to have a number between 1 and 10 times 10 to some power. We might have to change it to get it that way. Okay. Multiplying, dividing. When you multiply and divide, you don't have to line up decimal points. 2.7 times 358. I can just push that in my calculator. I don't have to line up the decimal points. So if I don't have to line up the decimal points, I don't have to make the exponents the same. So basically what you do is you multiply. So you multiply the numbers in front, and then when you're multiplying numbers with exponents, the rules for exponents is when you multiply, you add. So you're going to add the exponents. So you multiply the first numbers, then add the exponents. So if I asked you to do that, just the way they gave it to me. So 3.2 times 4.6 equals, and my calculator says 14.72. And then add the exponents. 7 plus 8 is 15. But that's not right, because this is not between 1 and 10. To make it between 1 and 10, I'd have to write it as 1.472. That means I got to change my exponent. I made the number smaller, so I need to make the exponent bigger. So you get 1.472 times 10 to the 16th. Now, once again, we should be able to do that on our calculators. Okay. So where's my mouse? All right. Oops, I guess I got to make it bigger so we can see it. So I need to push clear to get rid of everything. 3.2 EE or EXP 8 my calculator's written that up there, and then I want to multiply. On my calculator, it multiplies a star. 1. Oh, sorry, got the wrong one. So let's go backward. I'm doing the answer. 4.6 exp. Hmm. 4.6 exp 7. Well, that's not right. Something happened here. 3.2 times. It didn't clear. Let's clear it again. Let's try it again. .2 exp 8 times 4.6 exp 7. That looks better. Equals. Ooh. So there's my 14.72. And it's got to have a whole bunch of zeros. 1, 2, 3. Your calculator probably wrote 1.472 times 10 to the 16th. And so I got the same answer. So if you want to try the second one, let's make sure we get the same answer there. I just push on your calculator. Your calculator will do all this automatically for you. I just don't want you to be surprised when the exponents aren't exactly the same. You do it on your calculator. I'll do it the long way, and let's compare each other. 4.5 times 3.2 is 14.4. Times 10. Negative 3 plus negative 2 is negative 5. But that's not between 1 and 10, so I'm going to make it 1.44. Made my number smaller. I need to make it bigger than negative 5, and bigger than negative 5 is negative 4. See if your calculator did it the same way. .5 exp 3 negative times 3.2, take my 2, exp 2 negative equals, what did I do wrong? Oh, my 2 didn't get negatived. And I knew it was wrong because it didn't have the right exponent. It's got to be a negative exponent. And you can see that's 1.44 times 10 to the negative 1, 2, 3, 4. So we got the same answer. You might have to translate it off your screen, but we get the same answer. Anybody having trouble to get those answers on your calculator? It's going okay? Better than when you tried to practice the ones out of the back of the book? That's why I haven't graded those yet, because now you have a chance to go back and fix those. All right. So, when you divide the first numbers, then subtract the exponents. So you treat the numbers in front by themselves, do the division, and then you do what you do with exponents when you divide. That's subtract. Right? So division is subtraction. So divide 8.8 times 10 to the negative fourth by 2.2 times 10 to the eighth. Well, 8.8 divided by 2.2 is 4. So I got 4 times 10. Negative 4 minus 8 is negative 12. On the calculator, (8.8) exp 4 negative divided by 2.2 exp 8 equals . So I got 4e negative 12. Just, you have to translate it from your calculator to here. So I wrote the 4, and instead of writing e, I wrote times 10 to the, and the next thing I wrote was my superscript negative 12. Going okay? Make sense? Questions about that? Anybody not able to get it on their calculator? It's working? All right. That's all we really need to learn. But one of the things we need to remember to pay attention to is PEDMAS, okay? Or PEMDAS, depending how you talk to. So here's something I want you to do on your calculator. It's a really simple problem, but it illustrates a common issue that we're going to run into chemistry over and over again. So if I say 6.2 times 3.4, or 6 times 2 divided by 3 times 4 equals. Hey, we push buttons on our calculator. Six times 2 divided by 3 times 4 equals. And my calculator gives me the answer 16. But that's the wrong answer. It's got to be wrong. It absolutely positively has to be wrong. It can't be 16. Because this top number, 6 times 2 is 12. This bottom number, 3 times 4 is 12. So it's really 12 over 12, which is 1. But Mr. Green, you just pushed the buttons and you got 16. And that's because the calculator did exactly what I told it to do. I told it to take 6.3, take the 6 and multiply it by the 2. Take the 6, multiply it by the 2. Divide that answer by 3. Multiply that answer times 4. So it did 6 times 2 is 12, divided by 3 is 4, times 4 is 4. So the reason why you got the wrong answer when you pushed it is because something set up like this has implied parentheses. If it was written like that, you do the parentheses first. So you do the 6 times 2 and get 12. And you do the 3 times 4 and you get 12. But nobody wants to type parentheses every time they do a problem. So there's a much easier set of rules that we can use. And that's this. If you're just doing multiplication and division, if there's a number on top, it's multiply. If there's a number on the bottom, it's divide. Because that's what I really want to do. I really want to take 6 times 2 and get 12, divide that by 3 and get 4, and then if I take that 4 and divide it by 4, I'll get the one I'm supposed to. So when you're pushing buttons in your calculator, every number on top you multiply, every number on the bottom you divide. So what I really wanted to push here was 6 times 2 divided by 3, no problem here, but that 4 is on the bottom. So I want to push divided by 4. And if I do that, I get the right answer. So that's a rule we need to remember, because every time we do multiplication division in a fraction, we're going to do it a lot. The numbers on top multiply, the numbers on the bottom divide. So hopefully that simplifies the math. So with that in mind, let's push the buttons for these couple and make sure that we can get the right answer. So 2.4 exp3 times 4.8 exp3 divided by 1.2 exp4 negative equals. I get a really big number, but I'm going to write it as 9.6 with 1, and I'm going to move the decimal point 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. So my answer is going to be 9.6 times 10, and it was a really big number, so it's going to be 10 to the positive 8th. No, it was 10th. I counted 10, didn't I? Why did I say 10? It says I counted 10. It was 10 times over, right? Double check that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so it is 10. Okay, so a quick check that you didn't make a silly mistake. The top is multiply, right? The top is multiply. So I'm going to add those two exponents and I'm going to get 6. The bottom is subtract, so 6 minus a negative 4 is 10. So the quick check is to make sure your exponents work out. And they may not work out perfectly, but they're going to work out close. If I had made a mistake, that exponent wouldn't come anywhere near 10. It would have been 4 or 8, but it wouldn't be anywhere near 10. So just look at the exponents will get you a quick idea of whether you got it right or not. And on the bottom one, .8 exp3 divided by 1.2 exp4 negative. And here's the tricky part. The next number I want to push is that 2. But that 2.4 is on the bottom. So I'm going to push divided by 2.4 exp3 equals. 4.8 times 10 to the third, 1.2 times 10 to the minus fourth, positive 3. That's wrong. I did subtraction. Division. 4.8 exp3 divided by 1.2 exp4 negative divided by 2.4 exp3 equals. That just doesn't seem right. And I know it's not right. Look, this calculator's driving me nuts because it doesn't even put the decimal points in. And I'm tired of my online calculator. So, let's try again. It's not that calculator gave me the wrong answer. 4.8 EE3 divided by 1.2 EE negative 4 divided by 2.4 EE3 equals. Again, I get a screen full of numbers. I want at least 2 decimal places on your answers. So I'm going to round it to 1.67. And I have to move the decimal point 1, 2, 3, 4 times. And I'm going to make the number smaller, so I got to make it a positive 4. So I got 1.67 times 10 to the fourth. 1.6 repeating 6. Anybody else get anything different? I don't know what's happened with that on-screen calculator. I trust the one in my hand a lot better. I like the one in my hand. Anybody not get 1.67 times 10 to the fourth? All right, we're all good with the calculator. Okay. So, right now, I want you to stay on the Zoom, but I'm going to work some more examples. But if you're comfortable doing this, I want you to do 2 things. 1, go back and check the questions out of the appendix that you submitted already. I haven't graded them. I have not graded them, so you can change them and resubmit them. So make sure that you go back and look at the homework from the appendix. And I put up another practice sheet that you can practice that. So you have, I need you to be doing one of 3 things. And to see that you're doing one of those 3 things, I need to see your lovely smiling faces. So the 3 things I'm going to ask you to do right now, one of 3 is either pay attention to me, and I'll go through some more examples. The second thing, everybody should go back and check their appendices answers. Go back and look at those and make sure they make sense. And then you can start the homework that's up there for Scientific Notation Practice 2, I think it's called. Does that make sense? But I do need everybody's camera turned on, so there's a few smiling faces I don't get to see. I'd like to see you so you're working. So, and I will continue on. Does anybody have any questions on anything I can help them with while along the way? If you run into a question while you're doing homework, interrupt me. I'll tell you, maybe I can come back to it later. Okay. All right. If not, you've got 1 of 3 things to do, and I'm going to work on a few more examples. All right. So, on this first one, 2 times 10 to the third divided by 6 times 10 to the negative 6th. That's what I have to push in my calculator. 2 EE3 divided by 4 EE negative 6 equals, I get a screen full of numbers. And with that screen full of numbers, I got to put the decimal point after the 5, and I have to move it over times 10 to the 8th. Okay, why does that work? Well, because 2 divided by 4 is 0.5. It's division, so 3 minus a negative 6 is 9. But I move that over to make it between 1 and 10, so that makes that the 8. Yeah. Now, if you're using a calculator, if you're using a TI, I can show you a little trick about that TI. Okay. And come on, I'm supposed to take over. Do. Just trying to get the right camera so I can show it to you. But I can't find me. Ah, there I am. Okay. Can you see my... Okay. I can't see what you see now because it doesn't show up. Okay, so. All right. So, where's that? There's my TI calculator. Everybody see that screen full of numbers? Can you see the screen full of numbers? I can't see what you can see, so can you see my calculator? Nod, yes or no. Okay. Well, way up here at the top, it's about in blue. It says sci//eng. That's for science or engineering. So if you push second and that button, it gives you a series of choices. I lose the camera. It gives you a series of choices. So I push second and then that number. Notice here it says flow, sci, engineering. Flow stands for floating decimal point. That's the way you're used to using it. But if you move it over here to where it says sci and then push enter, it changes your answer into scientific notation. Okay? If you've got a Casio, let's see where it is on Casio. Okay. 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 So on a Casio, it's a little bit more difficult. Okay. What you need to do is find the one that says mode setup. Let's turn it on. Push mode setup and push it once and it does this. That's not the one, that's not the mode you want. Shift mode. I had it here a second ago. I can't see what I'm doing. Okay, so apparently it's a shift setup. Let's try that again. So if I push Shift and then Setup, it gives me a whole bunch of choices. Okay. Now there are two things that you want. Number 8 is normal. That's what you use. Or 7 is psi. So if you push 7, it will ask you 0 through 9. That's how many decimal places you want. And you want as many as you can see, which would be 9. So that means that it's going to write every number in scientific notation. Okay. To get it back, you push Shift Setup. And you either push 1 or 2. 1 is Math I/O. You push it twice. 6 divided by 8.2. We're still in scientific mode. But earlier today, somebody asked me about how to get it into decimal form on their Casio. Well, if you mess around with those setup features, one of them, I can't remember which one it is. Okay. First I want normal, because I don't want scientific notation all the time. It doesn't matter whether you pick 1 or 2, I don't know what they mean. And then I push Setup again. Okay. And I forget which one's fractions and which one's decimal points, but one of them says Math I/O and the other one says Line I/O. One of them will give you fractions for answers on your Casio. The other one will give you decimal points. So somebody asked me about that earlier today. And I knew there was a place to do it on the Casio. That if you're getting fractions, try 1. If that doesn't work, try 2. Okay? There are other calculators. Some of the TIs, and I don't have one of them with me, but down here, the second feature on 2, 3, and 4 will be floating, psi, and fixed. That's another place they put those up. If you see the letters FSE on your calculator, that's what they're trying to do, is they're trying to get you to floating, scientific, or fixed. Okay. Come on. I was working through some problems. My screen jumped all over the place. Where was I? Okay. Let's do a nasty one. So 7 times 10 to the 4th times 6 times 10 to the negative 7th divided by 5 times 10 to the negative 7th divided by 8 times 10 to the 6th. So that's what I have to push on my calculator. 7 times 10 to the 4th times 6 times 10 to the, different calculator. I have to push the negative first on this one. Negative 7. Divided by 5 times 10 to the negative 7th. And then the tricky part, that 8's on the bottom, so I push divided by 8 times 10 to the 6th equals. My calculator gives me 0.105. To get it between 1 and 10, it's got to be 1.05. I moved the decimal place once, so it's going to be times 10 to. Well, I made the number bigger, so I need to make the exponent smaller. It's negative 1. This number is less than 1, so it's a negative exponent.